Okay, guys, day 4 from when I started this vlog. So that means we're in the fourth chapter of Genesis. Chapter 4. Let's start reading. Let's go. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. So she bare Cain, firstborn. Okay. And she again bare his brother Abel. So Abel was the younger brother, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Cain was a farmer. Abel was a sheep herder or a shepherd. And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and his offering he had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. So it's interesting. I'm sure there's more to read into this, but if you're reading it, you're kind of going, well, why wouldn't the Lord have respect for Cain's offering, right? Because um, Cain was giving him an offering, so like, wouldn't any offering be something like, oh, thank you, you're thinking of me, or this is your tribute, whatever, and it's what you do, it's associated with what you do. You're a farmer, so this is how you pay tribute, and Abel is a shepherd, and so for him to give of his flock is his tribute, right? Um, However, having grown up in the church, one of the things I was taught, or there's some other stories behind here, or maybe, and who knows? Like I said, this is just I'm just sharing what I've been exposed to, and that there's more to this story. And it's interesting. It's not just something that I heard in the church. I remember when I was a young child, one of my favorite things my grandma would put on for me when I was little. She had these Bible stories, drama series on tape, on video, not video cassette, but tape cassette. If anybody knows what that is, the old tape cassettes. Where the young guys are like, "What's that?" It's just another way we could listen to, music and things. So she had a little tape recorder. She put that on there, and usually she put it on like when I was sick. Like sometimes I'd be sick, home from school and just laying out, just kind of miserable. And she'd go, "Hey, you can listen to these," and she'd pop a tape in, and and it had stories from the Bible. And it would just have like it's like a play, right? Or like sounds like they're talking on there. It's like a drama series. So you hear them talking and you hear the noises. So it's like it creates the whole effect for you. Like your imagination just gets to go to town thinking about, oh man, that sounds like horses and chariots and da 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 da. So I remember it did the story of Cain and Abel. So that's one of my earliest exposures to this story as a kid was um, hearing that through this drama tape. And it was like talking about Abel. And it usually has a narrator voice who has like this deep voice, like he sounds like some kind of angelic. And Abel was born. Or what? What does it say here? And Cain. Adam knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain. Da da da. All this dramatic music. And then it was like, and then she bare her brother Abel. So it was like dramatic. The way they did it, you're just like caught up and you're wrapped up in the story. You're going, man, what the heck is gonna happen next, dude? And they start telling you the story. Um, and then you find out like they get into like it's not even here in the Bible. They're just talking. Like Cain's like, well, Father will not be pleased if you do that, Cain. It is commanded of us of the Lord to sacrifice the firstling of our flock. This is the commandment. And I don't care. You hear Cain sound like a ruffian. Like, I do not deal with sheep. I work with the ground. I grow things, and you hear his pride and his like. And I guess I'm supposed to teach you as a kid, like, you shouldn't just be so proud of what you do. You should listen to God because, He has a reason why He wants you to do something and you want to do your own thing, you know. So that's some of the stuff I caught from this tape. I remember all that. So something here, you're just reading it. It just says, it just sounds all right. You could be like, wait, what's the matter? Well, why did God not have respect for Cain's offering? Because that's all you're reading. So whether the drama tape was actually the correct rendering, I mean, it certainly felt real listening to the story, and it was really interesting getting drawn into that. Here we see Cain was very wroth. It said, and I remember that in the tape. He was upset because his countenance fell because his offering wasn't pleasing to the Lord, because it wasn't what the Lord had directed for them to do in their offerings. And the offerings have a meaning. There's a reason why they're being taught this way. Um, and the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? So, of course, this is interesting because the Lord's still talking with them. That's another thing here you read, like, he was talking to Adam and Eve in the garden. So how is he talking to them here? Like, they're separated from God in a way when they leave the garden. So is God in the drama tape? God's just talking from the sky now because he's not, he can't just hang out with them anymore or something like he did in the garden. So it's like you just hear his voice booming, Cain, why art thou wroth? And why has thy countenance fallen? And Cain's like, whatever. I think he says here, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou dost not well, sin lieth at the door. Well, he's just giving him like how it is. He's just telling him straight, like, this is how it works, bro. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Now, this is interesting. Whose desire? And why would Cain particularly rule over him? And who's him? Some reference here is made to the devil or the serpent who tempted Adam and Eve to leave the garden, that now he's in this world with them. He's been thrust out because he was cursed to be, to be with man in a way, but on thy belly thou shalt go, and he shall have the power to bruise thy head, and thou shalt have the power to bruise his heel. So apparently he's going to be around mankind as well. And so it says, unto thee shall be his desire. So this you can almost kind of wrap that up back as we go back to what we were reading before and kind of say, oh, well, his sin lieth at the door, or this serpent that's what the serpent wants. He's a destroyer. He wants to mess everything up that God's doing. So it's like, this is what, and unto thee shall be his desire, or the serpent's desire. That's what the serpent wants. And thou shalt rule over him. So why is Cain going to rule over him? Well, just as it was ordained, it says that the man is going to have the power to bruise his head. So his head, obviously the serpent's going to bruise Cain's heel, through temptation, leading him down the wrong path. But Cain's going to have more power than him. He can still like vanquish him if he wants, or just rule over him. Just basically say, hey, I'm the new dark man in charge. Like you thought you were something with your serpent powers. Well, I'm here as a man, and I have more. God's already given me more power than you, but I want to go to the dark side, so I rule over you now. I'm your boss, which is, I don't know if that's one way to read it. Can kind of take it that way reading it. So, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. So this is just, we don't know much of this conversation except for our drama tape that I could go back to where they're like arguing, and you can kind of see those arguments happening in your family. They're really easy to spot. Like I've had them with my younger brother that I grew up with, and we've had our tiffs, and believe you me, there was times we just about killed each other. So here, whatever conversation they were having, um, Cain rose up against Abel and murdered him. Killed him. It's pretty sad. The Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I, the famous saying, am I my brother's keeper? That's the dismissal, right? That's like, you've done something, you start coming up with weird questions like, huh? Am I my brother's keeper? Like, am I supposed to know where he's at or at all times? Wow. Talk about lines, bold faced lying to God. Like, he's so far gone at this point that he's lost sight of the fact that God already knows what he's done. And he's just thinking he's powerful. Maybe he's arrogant enough to think I can hide stuff from God because I have power, blah, 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 whatever his thought process is. But he's just like, am I my brother's keeper? That's how I'm reading it. And he said, what hast thou done? And the Lord, I guess, was saying, what hast thou done? And the voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. So of course God knows what's happened, and since he's given Cain the chance to confess, but since Cain wants to play hardball, he's going to come straight out and say, okay, well, fine, let me just tell you what's going on here. This is what's happened. And he says, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. I mean, that's sad. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. So there's the curse right there. So he's probably gonna